Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW.
Yeah. So look, we're just talking here. What happened to you? Where were you in that? You're doing some charity work.
Well, yeah,
You had a St. Vincent de Paul.
I was
It's like
helping St. Vincent de Paul. It was very satisfying in a sense.
more relaxed. Just more relaxed. Just don't
Yeah.
even look at the camera. Just
St. Vincent de Paul was.
They gave you the shits in the end, but isn't it? It's like doing anything
Yeah.
for free. They want too much.
They
out of
provide
you.
food and money and assistance, rent assistance, and pay for electricity bills for people who are down and out. But what I found there, the people, it's a very poor area.
Sure.
And of the people, 40% roughly were either going to jail or coming out of jail.
Sure.
40%.
Sure.
Then roughly 40% were drug affected or mentally sick, mental issues or drug affected.
Sure. Okay.
So that leaves 20% left.
Yeah.
So those 20 were unfortunate, like sad sacks who were,
So you basically felt you couldn't do anything to help these people.
Well, the 20% were refugees who haven't got permanent residence status and a few other sad cases. Yeah, well, you could help, but they don't. I didn't feel they were helping as much as they should. And when I tried to get extra funding from head office, nobody agreed.
Back you up.
Nobody would back me up. And I thought, well, and then they closed down another branch and they wanted to send all the people from that branch to here too. Well, they won't ask for, we haven't got enough funding for ourselves.
Yeah.
They won't ask for more funding. They're just stupid.
Crazy.
Just crazy. And I thought, well, and
the politics.
But that didn't worry me about too much. But with COVID too, that's one of the most dangerous places in Brisbane, probably because
but it was mainly the COVID. COVID wasn't affecting the poor people; it was affecting rich people who were travelling.
Yeah, but
those people weren't.
Well, yeah, well, Australia was lucky, I suppose. But the people there we saw were the homeless people.
Sure.
I mean,
so how have you been then? So it's been a couple of years. You've aged a bit. I looked at some old. The reality is, when you're little, you age very quickly. Yeah. But then you get 20s, 30s, you slow down your aging, right?
Yeah.
But then at the end, you start aging fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's sort of you age really, really quickly there. And how's it going? You're comfortable. You're surviving. You're still in your nice house, aren't you?
Well, health-wise, okay.
Being very good.
Apart from a few minor issues. Wealth-wise, I've still got my house. I've still got enough funds to look after myself. And then, I've got friends and stuff to talk to, and so that's good too. So you have to have a balance of.
So you've been okay in your life?
Yeah. You've
been happy?
Very happy. I think ecstatic, I suppose. It's probably the best situation that I could get into. I don't really want to get a female who's going to take over and ask for everything, take half the house.
Because you got, it's quite funny. It's not funny. It's bloody. You got divorced just as you retired, didn't you? You stopped full time.
Yeah.
Was it the same year, or how was that? Or you'd already retired, or not quite? I can't remember.
No, I was 65. I sort of not. No, I had retired. Yeah, I sold everything off.
Oh, you'd sold it already.
It all been sold off.
So you were.
So I was only a worker then.
Oh, you were only a worker.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what caused the trouble then. Is the money, because you're not earning the big bucks anymore.
Oh, the money went right down. Yeah. Well, I got the money from selling everything.
Yeah, but still, you had debts in
But
that.
they had to clear the debts. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And
that's
and so that was
anomalies there.
Yeah,
really.
and then when you have to give away half of it to somebody else,
yeah, it's very.
it's
So
painful.
do you think that was a good idea to get divorced as you retired, or what did you
No,
think
it
of
wasn't. It wasn't a good idea. But then
Yeah.
I think now that it's say 7 years or something later, I'm very happy that it happened then.
Yeah.
And I feel,
Because I mean, there's no animosity to your ex-wife. You're happy.
No, I'm not. No,
for her and
I mean, she wished me happy birthday. It was, on my last birthday a couple of months ago.
Sure.
So she doesn't
There's nothing
hate
hard,
me,
hard,
and I don't
hard.
hate her.
Yeah.
She talks to my daughter all the time. And
So you're happy then? How is things going then? So you're, how old are you now? 72? 72?
72.
you're 73 in December.
Well, that's a long way away, I hope. That's
yes, 72. 72 years old, living by yourself. 72. Yeah, that's that's okay.
Well, the statistics say you should hit at least 80 plus,
Yeah.
and then it might be more difficult because the health issues come in. Your body is now getting older, and you might be able to run around chasing women as good as you do at 72.
Mm-hmm. So,
although most people at 72 already had it, haven't they? A lot of tradesmen.
there was a big funder. He was a big Trump supporter. He's the guy who did a lot of the Vegas. He was guy's worth $30 billion. He died at 87 in January this year.
Did he? Yeah.
His name Adsel. He's a Jewish guy.
Yeah,
Jewish guy,
yeah.
and actually they flew his body to Israel to be buried.
Did they? Oh,
he was a huge Trump supporter. They gave him a lot of money. And well, that's it, 87. So if is 87 a good number? Well, what's a good number for you? What do you think's the number?
Yeah. Well, that's the issue.
Like there's another thing. You're a bit of a fan of that Warren Buffett guy.
Yeah.
His second in charge is a guy called Charlie Munger.
Munger, yeah.
Right.
He died, didn't he?
No, he's alive still.
Oh, Charlie Munger's alive. Well, Warren Buffett's still alive too, isn't
Warren
he?
Buffett's alive, and Munger's alive.
And they're quite old.
Yeah, like they're 90s.
Yeah.
Like,
I think,
he's quite an interesting guy. I watched a documentary on that Munger guy. Like he made his money. So he went through they were born in the Depression, so they're kind of older than you. Like he went to World War II, so you weren't even born until 48.
Yeah.
So he it just shows you that they're dying, but aren't they? You can't. How long's he got? 5 years left, or what? What's he got left? Prince Philip's in hospital now. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. He's there.
He's a bit ill. He's 99.
See, Munger and
Buffett,
they had different approaches. Buffett, he did a lot of research in a company, and then he bought up and bought up and bought up. And he initially, I think the theory was that you have 5 good companies, and you back them, provided you know what's really happening. Well, people don't have that research facilities, and even you say if you like in the bank, some of the Royal Bank of Scotland, for instance, nobody knew what the hell was happening, and people lost all their money. So you could have put all your money in there, and you lost everything. So Munger had, I think, his approach was you don't invest in 5 companies, you invest in 50 companies.
Yes.
So if one goes down, well, you got 49 left. So that they had different approaches, and but
he's an interesting guy. That I think Munger gave all his money to his kids. You know that?
Did he? Yeah.
When I say all the money, we're talking about someone who's worth several billion. He kept 100 million for himself.
Yeah.
He kept.
Well, if you got that much, you don't need it. I don't know what Warren Buffett did. I think he gave it to some charity or something.
No, he wants to do that with the Bill Gates trust.
Bill Gates thing, yeah.
But I don't.
I don't know why he wants to do that. Why can't he give it a big whack to the kids and then?
Well, but you're talking.
Billions.
Yeah, it's a kind of, it's just hang on. We'll just cut that one there. So I just press the button. That's all. But you know, talking about money. Well, what is a lot of money in your opinion? It's all different. There's always people who are richer than you. There's people who are poorer than you.
Yeah.
Right. What do you think is rich?
Well, I think. Well,
somebody who's richer. Someone's got $500 more than you. You know, that's rich.
Well, I think rich is first of all having a house paid off. Now,
a house paid off.
Yeah. That's so that could be $500,000. That could be $1 million in Australia. Yeah. So $500,000 to $1 million, but a house paid off, and then money. How much money do you need? Well, if you're going to be, as we were talking previously, if you're going to live for 10 years, well, you need 10 years of money. If you're going to live for 20 years, well, 20 years. So I think, say 60,000 by 10 is 600,000. That's not bad. That gives you 10 years of living. If you want to live for 20 years, you need 1.2 million. So I think that's, but then, that doesn't take into account if you got some horrible illness and you're on life support and whatever. Well, then it doesn't matter, but at the same time, the treatment is very expensive.
Sure.
And
so what do you think is rich in this country?
Well,
I say this because you've worked as an accountant, right? Well, you've seen a lot of mums and dads. You've seen businesses, good businesses, very good businesses.
Yeah.
What is rich and what is poor? What do you think someone who is poor is?
Poor.
Someone.
Yeah.
What
is
poor?
Poor is not having a house.
Like sub 100,000.
Yeah, having a
under $100,000.
Well, I know people who are close to me too, who have got nothing, got no house and no money. They're lucky to have 1,000 in the bank. That's poor. But even poorer than that is the homeless. People who are living on the street, and what have they got? They got nothing. They've got.
So what is poor? But poor really in a modern society, below 100.
Below 100,000 and not having a house, renting. That's really bad. That's poor.
Okay, so under 100,000. That's 70 US.
Yeah.
Under 70 US.
But
so
if you
what is middle then?
Middle class.
You've had a lot of clients who came to you. What is an average person like? You wouldn't say they're rich. They would not poor.
No, a middle is having a $500,000 house and $500,000 in cash, superannuation funds. So half is $1 million. That's middle. That's very common.
A middle.
Yeah,
1 million.
A house paid off and they got $500,000.
House paid off.
And then $500,000 cash or super fund, superannuation.
Yeah. So it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Super. It's your money. It's yours.
Yes.
And rich was more than $1 million.
Million
plus.
Million plus. And if you got a house worth $1 million and $1 million in the bank, I think that's pretty good. That's rich. But there's different grades of rich. That's the bottom of the rich. The rich would have a $1 million house and say $2 million in the bank. That's now, I think that's starting to get rich.
$1 million house
and $2 million in cash.
$2 million in cash.
Then you feel pretty safe.
You feel safer.
Safer. Yeah.
Safer. Because it's all relative. Like in Sydney, $1 million just gets you an average house.
Oh, very average. Yeah.
Like you remember that guy. Remember his wife was Yolanda, the piano player, opera singer.
Yeah.
And he did up a house in Paddington.
Yeah.
And then he sold it. He bought the house at Sorrento. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
You know that house in Paddington, right?
It's
they're about $5 million now.
Yeah.
$5 million.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's what a house in, like a townhouse. Those they're not rich. They were actually very rich people now, but that sort of house is several $1 million, which is incredible.
Amazing what's happened in Sydney in those suburbs. Yeah.
But it's like in certain parts of America, I suppose it's the same. Like Hollywood Hills, those celebrity homes, they're all
Beverly Hills,
10 million, 20 million. You see these ridiculous. Whereas you can go out into the sticks like Oklahoma and that.
And 140,000 or something, 100,000. I remember catching a train from Canada to America.
Yes.
And you went past all these, from the train you could see little houses.
Yes.
They're pretty poor. They're just basic houses.
Yes.
They wouldn't be very expensive, and land would probably be cheap there too. So, like in Australia, different countries are different. Australia is the land content that brings the value up, not so much the house. Not the house, it's the land. Whilst if you're going to live in an area where the land is cheap, well, therefore the house is not that much. So yeah.
No, you're right. You're right.
If the house is worth 150, and your land's worth 100, that's 250. But here we've got land worth 300 or 400 now. So if land's 400,000 and you put a house on 150, that's 550 now. That's what a situation here is, isn't it? In Queensland. In Sydney, of course, your basic land's at least $1 million. At least.
Yes.
A reasonable block of land. Or you can't get land, actually, in good places, but it's very expensive. And then you got to build. The building is not that expensive, it's the land that's expensive.
Yeah, the labour rates are still very high here.
Well, they are compared to other countries, yeah.
So, Rich, you've met many rich people yourself there? Like in the merchant bank, you met that pigeon guy, or you didn't really know him that well?
Well, no, but he was... well, all the guys in the merchant bank clients were all rich.
His house sold. He had a house at Camp Hill.
Did he? Yeah.
You never went to his house?
No.
That was a classic house. But rich people yourselves there, what's the richest people you've known yourself in your business? You know, not naming them, but 5 million, 10 million, 20 million?
Oh, yeah. 5, 10, 20 million, yeah. But see, some of them, like I'm thinking about one guy who's got this poultry stuff.
Yeah.
He's worth 20 million.
Yes.
But he's never going to use it. He owns the land. He owns all the business. He's got the majority of the shares in the companies. Yes. But he's had 2 or 3 heart attacks and triple bypasses. And so what's the point in having 20 million? It's not in cash, it's in land. It's in that.
It's in assets.
It's an asset. And it's not liquid assets. And even if you had liquid assets, what's he going to do with it?
How old is he?
He'd be 80 now. 85. He was at the funeral of Beach.
Oh,
he was there. Talked to him there again. Alfred. Yeah. So you wonder, what's the point of being rich if you're not using that to your... Sure. He's probably got a nice car. He's got a nice house. He doesn't want... Some people don't want much. Like probably I think. Buffet, he's got supposedly...
No, but let's back the truck. I think Buffet's a bit of bullshit, to be honest with you, because he says he's got a house that was several $100,000 in 1950. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, Buffet's always got an excuse. He said, he doesn't have his own jet, but he owns a jet leasing company.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't seem... He doesn't hang around the homeless. He's friends with that Bill Gates, you know, you really wonder. You really wonder how. He's got a bit of an ego. Otherwise, he wouldn't put himself out in the press, would he?
No, well, yeah.
Would he do that or not? I mean, he likes the notoriety, doesn't he?
He wants the publicity, so people keep putting funds into...
Well, I don't think he's worried about funds, because he's got more than enough. They're so...
No, but he's got a business, and that's dependent on people investing in his business. Because people started pulling out, selling his...
Well, I don't think he'd really care, would he? Why would he care?
I don't know. I just don't know how... Well, he owns a lot of it. He never... I'm not sure how it works, but I understand he doesn't pay a dividend. His companies never pay a dividend. Everything's reinvested back into the company.
Yes.
No dividend, but the value of the stock increases.
They're like 100,000, a Class A. They got Class A.
But who would want? Like if you bought a share for so much, and now it's worth like say you bought it for 1,000, now it's worth 100,000. Well, who would want that? You can only get income from it by selling.
Okay, Class A Berkshire Hathaway stock. Sorry, it's $370,500 for one.
Yeah.
Fike. I remember years ago it was 100,000. Now it's 370. Well, it's not bad. That's not too bad, actually.
But then, how do you get the money out of it? You have to sell the stock.
Yeah, because it's traded on the exchange.
But why?
But what? See,
most companies here, if a company pays big dividends, good dividends, then the stock value increases. But he gets the dividend and he reinvests it back. But right, before you invest it back, you would have to pay tax.
Yeah.
So he pays the tax and puts it back into the company.
That's okay.
And the value increases. Well, but where's your return?
Well, when you sell off eventually.
Well, yeah. Well, I suppose. See, the rate of return is not just the dividends that you get. It's the he sort of makes the point on the rate of return is your increase in value of your stock plus the rate of return. So here you got no dividends, only increase in value of stock. So you sell down whatever if you need to, and then I don't know how the American tax system works. But
look, he's comfortable. He's richer than you and me. He's a lot richer.
A little bit richer than me. Yeah.
Just hang on. I just want to go to the toilet. Just stop that.
Friend of me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. Friend of me, enemy. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck just wanna be a mini me. All these neck.
Like, subscribe, and tell your friends, and don't be afraid to get a paid review. $50 for a paid review. It helps me stay full-time on YouTube, and I will see you in the next one. $50 paid review. I can't survive on Google Ads. I need your support. And guys, you could also sponsor me on Patreon. Patreon allows you to pay as little as $1 a month to keep me on YouTube. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the Pontiff goes. You know, some of my Pateks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.